Welcome everybody, this is the Black Flag Running Club. I'm your head coach, Aaron Adranya, and we are heading into week 16, and for some of us, this might be the longest run of our entire season, as some of us are still continuing to prepare for a full marathon coming up in the next few weeks. So let's first, before we go into too much about that, about the adjustments of the schedule. Now, I've made mentions of this in weeks past, but just to be kind of very transparent about it, we don't know when that new race is going to be for Rock and Roll. So we're hearing right now it's going to be sometime in fall, probably the latter part of fall. When that comes around, then we'll have a little bit more information about how we need to be preparing to get ready for that race. But between now and then, we're really just working on being comfortable at the higher mileage and working on the overall level of endurance. So what does that mean? It doesn't mean that we need to be running 20 plus miles every single week between now and whenever that new race is going to be, but we're going to continue to go in the same cycling that we have in the past, where we bring our mileage up, we keep it there for a couple weeks, and then on the third or fourth week we take a recovery week, let our body recover and rest, and then we do that cycle all over again and slowly add up and increase our total miles. So what I'm recommending for everybody, if you're not running the full, in this next 3-week time frame, is most of us are going to be wanting to be staying between that 16 and maybe as high as 18 miles. I think that's a pretty good maintenance miles if you're preparing for a full marathon. Now, everybody else, if you're doing a full marathon and it's going to be a virtual race or something like that here in the next few weeks, we do have an option for you this weekend that will take you out for between 20 and 22 miles, if that's something that you're interested in doing. For the rest of us, I've given you another option where literally you could do as little as 6, you could do as much as 18 plus, depending on which options you pick. So at the end of the day, we're all going to be starting and finishing at the same location. It's up to you to decide what's the most appropriate mileage for you. I would say, again, if you're trying to get and maintain marathon ready, staying at that 16-18 mile range is probably pretty appropriate. All right, so with that, now let's talk about what we've got physically planned for each one of those groups starting this Saturday. So the Rock and Roll group, we've got you guys listed out there on, and again, this is kind of the overall modifications. Most of us will be out there between 120 to 140 minutes. Now, the full marathoners, if you were still planning on doing a virtual race, yours would be as high as 200 minutes. So you got to pick depending on what is the most appropriate for you and what that is. But again, I think if you're not actually planning on racing, scaling back that mileage would be appropriate. Now, the good thing for y'all is that we do have a new interval for you listed out as a 1:9 or 1:14. Again, that's 1 minute walking followed by 9 minutes of running, or 1 minute running followed by 14 minutes of running, or 1 minute of walking followed by 14 minutes of running. Alrighty, so for the intermediate and the PR chasers, we have each of you guys listed out between 11 and 18 miles. Again, whatever seems the most appropriate for you. I think that mark right about 16 is probably a pretty good place to be at. We will spend 2 more weeks at this level before we'll take a recovery week. All right, so that's what we got planned for the Rock and Roll group. Now, we did have the Restart crew. Let's take a look at what we've got planned for you guys. Alrighty, so for the Rock and Roll Restart group, we have you out there for the Run Walkers. You guys will be out there for 120 minutes. We have a new interval for you guys as well. You'll be out there for 2 minutes followed by 8 minutes of running, or a 2:13. So this is 2 minutes of walking followed by 13 minutes of running. Now, if you're part of the Restart group and you are following the intermediate track, we've got a nice, easy 11 miles planned and scheduled for you this weekend. So that covers the Restart group. Next up, let's take a look at the map so you can kind of get some options and figure out which is going to be the most appropriate course for you. So I'm going to give 2 options here. I'm not going to go over the turn-by-turn directions, as I am going to be providing those maps and the Strava links for you. And the reason I'm not doing turn-by-turn directions on this one is because both of them are such large mileage and there's a lot of turn-by-turn, so literally would add probably 10 minutes extra to these videos. So make sure you read them in detail. The turn-by-turn directions are accurate and very easy to follow when you're actually doing them. But your biggest options is going to be the small loop. The small loop can be anywhere from 16 to as high as 18 miles, depending if you're adding on the 2.7 or the 4.4 at the Fiesta Island area and then adding that to the overall 14 miles for the general loop. So again, your options are 6 miles all the way on up to 18 miles. And then if you decide to do the big loop, again, your options there will take you from 20 to 23-ish miles depending on how long you decide to go. Concludes week 16 and our last final big run if you're training for a virtual half marathon or virtual marathon coming up here in the next few weeks. For the rest of us, we're just going to keep going. We'll do one more week of our up mileage until we go into our recovery mode. So stay tuned for that in our next video coming out next Monday morning. And with that, remember, stay connected, be safe, run strong, and we'll see you guys on Monday morning.